Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing? This is Amanda. I do hope that you're well. This is the second of a two-part series of videos that I'm doing in the run-up to Christmas this year, themed around the four energies of Advent, which are hope, peace, joy, and love. In the first video that I put out about 10 days ago, and I'll put the link below too, we looked at the energy of hope and we looked at the energy of peace. In this video, we're going to look at the energy of joy and we're going to look at the energy of love. We're going to be looking at archangels that sit and help us to connect to those qualities and energies. We're going to be looking at various crystals, colours and sprays that also help us to hold the vibration of joy and love. But I also feel as though this teaching is going to be deeper and richer if we're also able to explore the other end of the axes. So the other end of the axes of love is hate, and the other end of the axes of joy is despair. So we're going to touch on those as well. So you'll see behind me, in case you didn't see the first video, this is our Advent wreath that I've had in my room now for a few weeks, just holding the portal energy for us of this time. We already have 3 candles lit. 2 of them were from the last time we were together, which was the candle for hope and the candle for peace. Just to refresh your memory, with hope we put Archangel Gabriel, and with the energy of peace we put Archangel Chamuel. Today, just off camera, I've lit this candle, which is the energy of joy, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And then together we're going to light this candle, which is linked into love. And then I think also I will light the 5th candle, which normally would be Christmas Day, but I won't be doing a video on Christmas Day, so I'm going to light that one as well. So let's get to it. I do hope that you're all well and looking forward to the season ahead and Christmas, although I know that some people find it very difficult. So let's start with that, shall we? And let's start with the energy of joy. But as I say, the axis also holds the polar energy of despair. So I'm going to tell you a story. It's a little bit of a sad, heavy story to start with, but it gets us into the subject matter quickly and poignantly. So I was coming back from Yorkshire yesterday on the train. I had a very lovely visit with my dad and got to Waterloo, got on the train, settled myself down. And then, of course, the announcement on the intercom that we all dread, which comes over saying the train is cancelled, everybody get off. So we all got off, and I was saddened to hear it was because of an incident on the line. I knew what that meant before anybody said anything and confirmed it. But on the next train that I got onto, it did become clear that it was somebody that had thrown themselves onto the line further up the line. So obviously the trains couldn't get past and we were diverted and went a different route. So firstly, sending prayers, if that person is still alive even, to whoever that was. If they passed, sending light to them to cross over the Rainbow Bridge. But it got me thinking about this time of year and how difficult it is for certain people that they can't face it. And very much it is often about the absence of joy. It's about the absence of love. It's about the absence of peace. It's about the absence of hope. It's why Spirit really wanted me to do this video this year, this series of 2 videos, to really just ram home how we can connect to these qualities and energies, which can feel very elusive at times in our life, but which are actually always there, even if dormant. And how can we stimulate and allow them to grow? But yeah, so many people find this time of year difficult and have despair rather than joy. There was also a story in the papers in the UK, literally the last 48 hours, a lady went missing. She looked about my age, Gaynor Lord she was called, and she's been found in the river, and it looks like she took her own life. I know there are maybe internet sleuths that are saying different things, but to me, it felt very apparent that that is what she'd done. Sometimes the most obvious reason is the obvious reason. The true meaning, the true reason. There's a guy in our street actually who lost a son who jumped into the river a few years ago, and he's now alone. And, you know, these things happen, and they often happen around Christmas time. I will just say one thing about Gaynor actually, which was that she left work early and was walking very erratically through the town centre, but she stopped in at the cathedral on her route to the park and the river. And people are speculating as to why they did that, why she did that. And I suspect it was a spiritual reason, that she was trying to make some type of peace with whatever her God or version of God is. But I don't want to dwell on this because it's upsetting, but I do think it's important that we understand the full spectrum that's out there, and this spectrum of despair and joy. So this video is going to try to help us hold the energy of joy. And let's start firstly with thinking about which archangels can particularly help us to find it, and that it doesn't have to be as elusive as we think it is. So for me, the archangel that very much represents the energy of joy is Archangel Jophiel. Even the name Jophiel feels as though it's jolly, it's jovial, it's interesting, isn't it? Jovial and fun. Jophiel, never thought of that before. Jovial and Jophiel, love it. You see, we probably all know people in our own lives that maybe have struggled, have got all sorts of difficult problems maybe that they're facing, but they do have a Jophiel energy around them. And I'm going to look up the meaning actually of Jophiel. I really find that quite interesting, that his name is pretty much what this is, cheerful and friendly. Yeah, you see, that takes me to well, let me show you the spray, and let me explain what it says on it, which you may or may not be able to read. It says beauty and wisdom. So let me spray it, because let's just bring in this beautiful yellow ray, which is very much linked into sunshine. The yellow ray. Jophiel, Archangel Jophiel, asks us to find the beauty in the everyday. There is always beauty in the everyday if we look for it. There is also always beauty in ourselves if we look for it. There is also usually always beauty in another if you look for it. The problem is, in our society and our modern day life, which is so busy, we often don't. Also, it's compounded by the fact that often we have our heads down. We're looking at our phones. I was very aware on the train yesterday when I was pulling out of Harrogate, and there's beautiful countryside all around there. And I instinctively just went onto my phone to check messages or whatever. And then it was as though my higher self was like, oi, look out the window. And I was so glad, excuse me, I was so glad that I did look out the window, because there was just this beautiful rolling green English countryside as you imagine it, rolling by, you know, and I would have missed it if I had just not looked up. This is the thing though, a lot of the time we're not looking up. There is also a card that is coming to me from the Archangel Metatron deck. Those of you that have my Archangel Metatron deck, which is the one about detach from drama. And in this card, I'll show it to you. There she is. She is caught up in a web of her problems, whatever they are, whether they're big, whether they're small. she's also caught up in a web of her thoughts. She's caught up in so much that she can't see this beautiful light that is all around her. She can't see and probably smell the beautiful flowers in the meadow. She is just completely absorbed in her own trauma, her wounding, her problems. And of course, there is a time and a place for reflection. There is absolutely a time and place for healing. There's a time and a place for discussing our issues. But when it becomes to the extent that it is here, where it's as though we're feeding it, we can't get out of the loop of thinking about what's wrong at the expense of what is right, then we have a problem. We've probably all been with people, haven't we, where, you know, they're talking to you, they're telling you their problems, and then there's a fine line between it almost becoming, well, it happened to me recently. I was with somebody and I was listening to their issues and their problems, and, you know, went on for quite a long time. And then it got to a point where I was thinking, there's no understanding or appreciation of what is right in your life at the moment. And that's really what I'm getting at with this card, because whatever is going on for all of us, there is always something beautiful out there. And that's what Jophiel and the energy of joy is trying to remind us of. But you have to sometimes look for it. You have to search for it. But it is always there. And it isn't in things that cost a lot of money. It's in things that are free. It's in the sunset. It's in the sunrise. It's in the fields. It's in nature. It's in your pet. It's in your children. It's in, I don't know, whatever it's in, but it's there. I can absolutely assure you. So the energy of looking for beauty, looking for what is going to make our heart sing. And when our heart starts to sing, our heart starts to vibrate at a higher frequency, which is along the lines of joy. So Archangel Jophiel is one of the ones that can really help us to find the joy. And it's in the little things. There's a lovely poem here that I found for you from the Wee Moon Diary again. I'll link it below. It's by somebody called Nian Vyong, written in 2019. And it says, it's called This Joy in Nothing. Okay, so it says, sometimes you wake up with this inexplicable joy, with your gut curled up into a Cheshire smile, and your left shoulder pulls back into a wink that no one else can see. And you look around for the source of this smug delight, but can't at a glance find its origin in any particular thing, not in the whisper of a morning that gently beckoned you awake just in time, before anyone else would even think of rising at this Mad Hatter coffee over tea hour, before the light of the sun has even risen. So you know that even beauty is not to blame, not for this. This is the best joy. This is the first joy. This is the last joy. This joy is nothing. I love that. Because what it's basically saying is that you can find joy in the most unexpected places. You can find joy from, it can just arise from nothing, actually. You know, have you ever been one of these people that's just walking down the street and you've got a great big grin on your face because you're thinking about something, you're remembering somebody, you're remembering something that's been said, you're remembering something funny on a film or whatever. And it just brings this beautiful bubbling feeling up from nowhere. That is joy. So our third candle is dedicated to the energy of joy and Archangel Jophiel. Let's see if Jophiel has any message for us today. Let me just spray this into my hand and let's feel into a message from Jophiel. Yeah, okay. This is not a reference that maybe everyone is going to understand, but it is the one I've been given. Certainly if you're in the UK, you're going to remember who this person was. He was called Ken Dodd, and he had this joyous energy. he was, I can't do the way he used to talk, but it was all like fiddly sticks and blah, blah, blah. He was like a bit of a Mad Hatter. That's what I'm being shown. He was like a Mad Hatter type energy at a tea party. And the thing with Ken Dodd is he was old school entertainment. But when you went to a Ken Dodd show, not that I ever did, he would go on for hours and hours. And he would say it's very titivating. It's very, I just can see him in my mind's eye now. He was just very larger than life. Let me show you what he looked like. Why is he coming through? Because I feel as though he embodied that energy of joy. Oh, right. He wrote a song. Okay. He wrote a song. I mean, he looked mad, really. I mean, bless his heart, but he did. That's sort of what he looked like. My camera probably isn't focusing very well, but he wrote a song called Happiness. And he was born in Knotty Ash in Liverpool, and he died in Knotty Ash in Liverpool. I didn't know Knotty Ash was actually a place. I thought it was a made-up place. His whole life was just, I don't know, a little bit bonkers, a little bit mad, very much a bit like, Robin Williams, who you will all have heard of. And of course, Robin Williams' famous quote was something along the lines of, we all need a little bit of madness to never lose that madness that you have within yourself, because it's the recipe for joy. Let me read you Happiness. I mean, I can see him here in my mind's eye. He had a song called Happiness. Happiness, happiness, the greatest gift that I possess. I thank the Lord that I've been blessed with more than my share of happiness. To me, this old world is a wonderful place. I'm just about the luckiest human in the whole human race. I've got no silver and I've got no gold, but I've got happiness in my soul. Happiness to me is an ocean tide, a sunset fading on a mountainside, a big old heaven full of stars above when I'm in the arms of the one I love. Happiness is a field of grain, turning its face to the falling rain. I see it in the sunshine, breathe it in the rain. Happiness, happiness everywhere. A wise old man told me one more time, happiness is a frame of mind. When you go to measuring my success, don't count my money, count my happiness. Oh, happiness, happiness, the greatest gift that I possess. I thank the Lord that I've been blessed with more than my share of happiness. I'm going to have to channel Ken Dodd, aren't I? Because he was the happiness king. That's what he was all about. He was just about spreading the energy of happiness and joy, and you could not get the guy off the stage. He was known for it. His shows would go on for like 4 hours because he just loved it, and people loved him. And yeah, Ken Dodd, I mean, when I sat down to do this video this morning, did I think I was going to be talking about Ken Dodd? No, I didn't. But there we go. That is how random spirit can be. I absolutely love it. Bless you, Ken. Thank you. So, okay. Well, I'm sort of speechless with that. Okay. So we've gone from Archangel Jophiel. Well, I just said Archangel Jophiel. Exactly. Jophiel. Do you understand the English language? So for people that don't speak it, I must just write these words down for you, because Jophiel is the Archangel, spelt like that, Jophiel. Jovial, which means happiness, joy, fun, cheery, positive, is spelt Jovial. They're two different words. You see, English is the most extraordinary language where you have words that sound very similar, but they mean totally different things. Anyway, that is it. That is it. That's the energy of Jophiel, jolly, jolliness, all of that. You see, I'm a firm believer, and I am somebody that suffered from depression in the past, and I come from a family that have suffered from depression in the past. I know what I'm talking about. I know how difficult it can be. And I'm not just saying there isn't magic wand out there, because I don't believe there is. I believe that curing yourself from low mood, depression is a process. There are many tools that you can lend to help yourself with it. But one of them is the energy of trying to detach from this type of energy where we're just completely self-absorbed involved in our own issues, our own problems, what's going wrong, and doing what Jophiel is asking us to do, which is about, okay, this is just feeling really shitty at this moment in time. I really don't feel great, but actually today's cup of tea tastes great. You know, this person smiled at me in the street. It's an active process that we have to go through, okay? So sending my love out to anybody that's feeling a bit low at this moment in time, but please tune in to that energy of Jophiel, Ken Dodd, the yellow ray, all of it. Now, in terms of crystals, what crystal do I want to give you? I'd like to give you citrine, basically. So, you know, good old citrine. There are many beautiful crystals you could choose from the yellow kingdom, I want to say, the yellow ray. I also nearly bought to this video today, but I couldn't find it, my bumblebee jasper beautiful bracelet that one of you sent me. It is upstairs. It's just, I haven't been back very long, so I couldn't find it today. But citrine is great. Citrine will just help to light you up, okay? It helps to light you up, helps to lift you, is very good for low mood, for happiness, for confidence, for self-esteem, also good for abundance and money. But I love what Ken said in that song, actually, that don't measure my success on the money that I have in my bank, measure my success with regards to how happy I feel. Now, obviously, that was his stuff. It's not to say, you know, you should judge yourself if you don't feel great. We've all been there. Very much we've all been there. But, you know, this is why I'm talking about the energy of joy today. Let's try to look for it. Look for it in unexpected places and you will find it. Okay. Anything else to say on joy? I don't think so. I wanted to show you, 3 cards. 2 cards. I wanted to show you this card from the Archangel Metatron deck as well, which is the yellow ray. And it says joy and happiness, okay? We've got the bee, which flits from flower to flower, finding the pollen, the nectar, the honey, the sweetness of life, all of that, okay? And what I'm hearing Spirit saying, what Metatron is saying here, is what we search for and what we look for. So with regards to, for example, sweetness in life, joy in life, where are we spreading that ourselves? So a bit like the bee that's hopping from flower to flower, what are you doing that is helping to spread some joy and happiness? An example for me in the last week has been that I went up to see my dad. It's a bit of a journey. It's 6 hours on a good day. Coming back, it took 9 hours, actually, just because of all the delays and problems with the trains. But it was worth it. It was like the happiness and the joy that it brought both of us just to be together was immeasurable. I know it brought him happiness, me going up, and it brought me happiness as well, going up. It's just one example. So I like to think I took my little light up there. But yeah, it can be in all sorts of things, all right? So what are you doing that is spreading the vibration of happiness and joy today? The other card I wanted to show you is the Jophiel card. I think this is from an old Doreen deck. And this says about Archangel Jophiel, it says, go outside, get some fresh air and connect with nature to relieve stress and gain new ideas. So that's important as well. Sunlight, even though, it's very cloudy and dark here at the moment in the UK, the sun is still up there, believe it or not. It's just being in the light is very important at this time as well. Being in nature. Okay. Right. I will just show you this as well. I don't even know if we've got these in stock anymore, but you see, I wasn't expecting Ken Dodd to come in. I thought it was going to be Bob Marley, but I have done videos with Bob Marley before, channeled him. And of course, his song was Don't Worry About a Thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. One love. So again, Bob Marley. Let's just spray this one. This is actually a version of the Joy Spray that we sell. the energy that I get from Bob today is, I mean, he was always chilled, wasn't he? He's like reclining, okay, on this sort of couch, or not even a couch. He's sort of on the floor, just reclining back, very chilled. And it's this thing about don't worry about a thing because every little thing is going to be all right. But what he's showing me is the passage of time and the fact that we don't always appreciate the aspect of time with regard to it's all going to be okay. Without getting personal, the little picture I put up of me and my dad on Instagram last night is a really happy photograph. And I want to say we've earned that happiness, okay? Without going into our story, father, daughter, all the things that have happened over many years, it's so precious. It's so precious where we are now because it wasn't always like that. So it's this thing about just don't worry, it's all going to turn out okay in the end. That's what's coming through from Bob. This energy of time, give it time as well. Give it time. That things will turn out okay. Hold on to that. But equally that you have to sometimes get up and do things as well. You have to be active with it. Okay. So yeah, in terms of the sprays, let me just say, because it's a little bit confusing for people that don't know my work, there are 3 that I'm suggesting, all of which are on the yellow vibration. This one is the lemon joy and happiness spray. I'll put it linked below. It's the one that I made, I don't know, years and years ago when I first started making the sprays in 2012, I think it was. This was one of the first ones that came through, and the idea for this was that it would represent the sun. Okay, it would represent the sun. It would represent, it would also be there for people during times of who experience what we've got now in the UK and in Northern Europe, these very dark days. I'm talking dark in terms of light, so seasonal affective disorder, that type of thing, but also, you know, low mood, depression. I'm not saying one squirt of this cures it. No, of course not. It's a tool that can help you. It's a tool that reminds you of the power of the yellow ray. And it has lots of uplifting essential oils in it, most of which are probably citrus based from memory. So it's uplifting. We then also made a Bob Marley version of it. I don't know whether they're still in the shop or not when I channeled Bob, but also I'm suggesting the Archangel Jophiel spray, which is reminding us to search for the beauty and the wisdom and brings in the angelic frequency. Okay, right, let's move on, guys. Let's move on to our 4th candle. Well, let us say, one of you did send me a Christmas card. Thank you very much for all of you that have sent me cards and gifts. It's so sweet of you. I will reply to everybody. Just give me a little bit of time, but thank you very much. But one of you sent me a card with the 4 candles. The 2 Ronnies joke. But anyway, I won't go back into that. Right, I'm going to light the 4th candle, which is the candle of joy. Now, you see, I'm not a Catholic, okay? And I said in my first video, I don't even really remember Advent much when I used to go to church as a child, because I was always fixated on Christmas Day, as kids are. So, you know, certainly in an Anglican church, I never remember what colour the candles were they were lighting. And there seems to be different opinions in terms of which candle should be the pink one. I think some people light the joy candle as the pink candle, but I'm sorry, for me, I wanted to represent the pink candle represents love. For me, that's what works. So let's light it. Our 4th candle. Apparently this is sometimes called the angel's candle. Okay, so 4th candle, let us light it. Hold on, this might take a while actually. I'm going to light it from the other candle without burning the house down. There we go. Our candle dedicated to love. Okay. Let's put it down there. And what do I want to say about love? What is there to say about love? I did say I was going to look at the polar opposite energies as well. Okay, so the energy of hate. Well, we're not going to dwell on this too much for obvious reasons, but I think if we look around the world at the moment, we see lots of hate, don't we? That's the truth. We see lots of hatred. I always ask us to then mirror it back. So where are you still feeling hatred? Might be quite a strong word. Maybe you want to use intense dislike. but where are you feeling that polar opposite energy within you, and to whom, okay, or to what? And then I'm going to ask you, is it serving you? Is it actually serving you? It's a difficult one because there are many things happening in our world, and will continue to as we awaken more and the ascension process really roots in, where things are being revealed which are really unpleasant, really difficult, repugnant is the word I'm hearing from Spirit, repugnant, and it's okay to call them out. You see, I got called out for calling out something last week on my social media. You can probably guess what it was, referencing the film. I think it's very naive to think, though, that just because we're spiritual people, we can't call things out. And as soon as we do that, we get attacked for, well, that's not unconditional love. And I replied to this person, and if you're watching, I hope you saw the comment before I switched the comments off, actually, because it just got boring. I said, even Jesus got angry and well, even if you don't believe he got angry, he certainly called people out. He called the darkness out. But it's a fine line. I do understand that. So it's okay to call out the darkness. You can call out the darkness, and you can have love in your heart for the fact that whoever that is or whatever it is turns into light, is transmuted. But let us not put our head in the sand and just be in sort of la-la land that difficult things are happening in our world and are going to be revealed in our world, and we absolutely are going to have a reaction to that, and it's okay to call it out. The problem is when you stay in the energy of intense dislike, I'm going to say. I don't hate anybody. There are situations in our world I intensely dislike and hate. But also from a violet pill perspective, I can see why they're there, because we're in a planet of duality. But equally, I'm a human being, and I will have a reaction to things that are not right. Of course I will. So I just felt I needed to say that also, because next year, 2024, there's more and more going to be revealed. And if each time I try and bring something up in terms of, have you seen this, and let's call this out, I get what's the love brigade coming at me in terms of, you can't do that because you're just supposed to be about love. It's like, come on. It's like we need to, as I say, that's what I was told this week. Even Jesus called people out. You know, think back to he called them the hypocrites in the temple, and the throwing over the tables in the temple. So we're working with all energies, but the important thing is we always return back to love, okay? We come back to love. We can have a reaction, we can have an intense dislike or a hatred about something, or even someone, because you can't thwart how you're feeling. That path leads to illness, but it's about channeling it in a constructive way, doing something with it. If you hate something, or you hate what somebody represents, we'll try to maybe campaign or do something to bring in the energy that you would like to see replaced, for example, you know? Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now, and let's just get back to this energy of love. But yeah, I needed to sort of also say that about the energy of hate, I feel. So I've got a couple of beautiful passages. We're going to bring in an archangel. I'm going to actually start with this one, though, from this book. I think it's in the top 10 at the moment. Donna Ashworth, Wild Hope. I do think 2024 for me, I know I said this last year, but I didn't find the time. Somehow I need to find the time to write, because I really passionately believe my future lies in, I'll always be on video form somewhere, but I want to get my work out there. So we'll see. I'm just putting that out to the universe for that to happen. This poem by her, page 191, if you've got the book, is called Taught. It says, perhaps you were never taught how to love, never shown the way love works, unconditionally. Maybe you had to figure it out by yourself the hard way, by giving away parts of you that were supposed to stay firmly attached, instead of letting people come to view your kingdom. You let them make a home inside your heart, inside your head, and take your bed. Perhaps you were never taught how to love, my friend, and you figured it out the hard way. So that's talking very much in terms of personal relationships, but I want to talk about love in a wider sense as well. Cue the seagulls. When we look out into society at the moment, we see so many examples of people not choosing love, people not choosing to behave in a loving manner towards themselves, towards each other. And if we actually think that sometimes, I really believe this, it's because they haven't actually been shown it. They haven't been shown how to love. They haven't had the role models. They haven't had the template. We're in a society that isn't necessarily valuing love in its most authentic, real way. I was actually thinking the other day, I don't tend to watch the soap operas anymore, but because I've been away for a few days, I caught myself in the hotel room at a certain time and EastEnders was on. Used to watch it, but I don't anymore. Anyway, EastEnders, our version of whatever your soap opera is that's very popular in your country. And I turned it on and, you know, you can get quite addicted to the drama of it all. It's like it hooked me in. I was like, oh. And I thought, oh, God, this is the same old story they were doing 10 years ago. But the point is, you know, it's the whole love triangle thing and someone's about to be found out. It's not really their baby and, you know, relationships that last 5 minutes and then they're hopping into bed with somebody else, all the rest of it. And I thought, there never seems to be in a soap opera, hear me out here, an example of just a very sustained, normal love, you know, that goes through the decades, that does the washing up, that puts the bins out, that might not be, it's not soap opera material, is it? That's what I'm really trying to say. It's not soap opera material. Who wants to read about that? Who wants to watch that? Well, imagine if we did, okay? Imagine if we prized that. Imagine how different that would be if more of that type of template and role modelling was shown in our society. And of course it does exist. It absolutely does exist. But it just came to me, watching the TV, it was like, yeah, it's like we're fed this diet of just relationships are going to fail or the drama of it all, basically. So anyway, that was one thing I felt. So that was the poem from Donna. Which archangel am I going to put with love? Well, I'm going to put the same one that I put with peace, which is Archangel Chamuel. There she is. I say he, she, because sometimes people put Chamuel as more of a female archangel, although of course they all have male and female aspects to them. And of course they can appear however you wish them to appear. Same as Gabriel. Sometimes it's a woman, or not a woman, sometimes it's female, sometimes it's male. Anyway, Chamuel, love and peace, you see. This is called Love and Peace. This is our Archangel Chamuel spray. So how do we find the love? This spray is very good for helping us with relationship support, but as I said last video, also the relationship we have with ourselves, because it's very hard to show love, hold love, be love, if you don't feel it for yourself, if you hate yourself. There's a sort of rule of thumb that you're going to not necessarily get on with other people very well. You often hear people say, who really sort of hate humanity, sort of like, well, I hate humanity, but I just love animals. Well, there's nothing wrong with loving animals, of course. They're beautiful. But if you actually feel into that, it's almost like you've written off the whole human race. You've written off the whole potential or opportunity for somebody to come in who's just really loving. And do you know, the last few days, I've had 3 examples of it, all from the Divine Masculine, whilst I've been away. Number 1, on the tube, those of you that are on the tube in London or whatever the equivalent, the metro in Paris or whatever the equivalent is in New York or Japan, you know that seats are prized, okay? They're prized. People don't give them up very easily. In the old days, chivalry, you would be given a seat. Not anymore. And I know this because I lived in London for 10 years. Anyway, the point was, I got on the train straight away. This was the first day. A man stands up, a little bit older than me, not much. And he says, "Would you like my seat?" Beckons me to the seat. I said, "Oh, no, that's fine. Thanks. But thank you. I really appreciated the gesture." And then coming back yesterday, admittedly, I did have a case and a rucksack, but I came off the train and then there were all these stairs to climb with the bags. I could have managed it, but there was this guy and he was just like hanging around by the stairs, at the top of the stairs. I thought, what's he hanging around for? Because we were the last two off. And then I realised he was waiting for me and he said, come on, I'll do your bag for you. Then he lifted my bag up all these stairs, and then there was another set of stairs. It actually got quite embarrassing because it was like the stairs upon stairs upon stairs. He insisted on carrying my bags all the way up. I said, "Thank you very much." Really, really unexpected. And then yesterday morning at breakfast, because I had an early train to catch, I was the first person at breakfast. Went into this completely empty hotel breakfast room, and there was a nice young guy, just serving the breakfast. And I just made a joke. I said, "Oh, it's just me, is it?" And he said, "I'll come and sit." He was genuine. He said, "I'll come and sit with you if you'd like. You don't have to be alone." It was above and beyond. And I was thinking about it on the train on the way back. I was thinking, it's really lovely that I've been shown that, but what is it? I think it is a reflection also of the fact that I love myself, that I feel worthy of that type of support, I suppose, love, whatever you want to call it. But equally, I think it was tied into the divine feminine energy. I think when you are able to hold that energy, and of course the divine feminine energy is a high vibration of love, I think people they don't know that's what it is, but that's what they're responding to. It's like... I really feel that's what it was. That's what I like to think it was anyway. So that's just a nice little example of this thing about if you feel good about yourself, you're not going to be rocked by what other people say. People are always throwing stuff at me that you're this, you're that, we don't like this, we don't like that. And yes, old me over the years, me on a bad day can still be affected by that. But by the by, 99% of the time, I just let it go over my head because I know who I am and I love myself, and I deserve the place that I'm at now because it's taken a long time to get here. So I'm telling you this, hopefully, as a story of hope for those of you that aren't in that place, that you can get there. It just requires... I was going to say it requires dedication and work, but I don't mean that in a really heavy way. I would like to share something here. And it's to do with upgrades, because when we think about upgrades, whether it be through, any portal or moon phase or birthdays are portals as well, I take you through something like the 1111 portal, and we always talk about upgrades. And I have said this before, and I'd like to say it again. I have always observed over the years and noticed when I've had an upgrade. And it's always come in retrospect that I've noticed it via me responding in a different way, via circumstances just being very different, playing out in a different way to how they normally would. And I step back and I think, wow, you've done some work on yourself. This is showing now in real life. The inner work is now being reflected outward to you. And I saw it this weekend with my dad. I'm not going to go into our story, but we've had our story over the years. All relationships have that. Hasn't always been that great. But we had I came back to John and I said, it was the best weekend I've ever had up there. It was just so loving. And I thought, what was different about it? And I come to the conclusion, it's just an upgraded energy. Where has that upgraded energy come from? Well, it's probably come from me. It's come from my dad. It's come from doing the work. It's come from persevering. It's come from not giving up on love, actually. Not giving up on love. Not giving up on each other. So, yeah, just feel like I want to say that. So upgrades come, and you see, 1111 is a good example. Solstice will be a good example. We expect it on the day. The lightning bolt from the sky. I woke up at 9, and now I feel different because I've done this activation or I've done that. The activations are important. The meditations are important. The work with crystals, sprays, prayers, affirmations, healing you go to, it's all important. But the result comes usually after. And then you look back and you think, wow, all of that stuff, all of that journaling, all of that praying, all of that hoping, all of that holding out for love, for the higher outcome, it comes good in the end. So let's bring in the energy of Archangel Chamuel. Oh, yeah, okay. So he's taking me to, I wanted to do that at the end though. No, he's saying do it now, okay. What was I wanting to do at the end? I was wanting to read you Corinthians 13, of course. That's what Chamuel is taking me to. Ready? You see, this is a download in itself. Every time you read this passage, it is a download. Allow it to absorb into your cells. Allow it to absorb into your mind. Allow it to absorb into your heart. Allow yourself to become the words. Ready? You all know it. And it's reserved for weddings or, no. This should be something which is weaved into our everyday, that we remember it. So, love, the fourth candle. If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to the hardship, that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. So beautiful. Be a nice passage to have on the wall actually at home, wouldn't it? So that's what Chamuel was just leading me straight there. It's so true though. It's so true. Faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. If you look back at passages of your life, times when you've held on to love, through the tough times, through the difficult times, you haven't given up, it usually ends up being worth it. And no, I'm not just talking relationships here. I'm talking in a very wide sense of the word. If you've got love, you've got everything. And this is to do with self-love. It's to do with loving self. How can you love yourself better? Let's go to this one. May You Be Well by Cheryl Rickman. This is a prayer for choosing love. It's very short, to the point, and it's perfect. It says, when I feel understood, I choose love anyway. When I'm unheard and unseen, I choose love anyway. When I've been hurt and feel pained, I choose love anyway. I choose love for my fellow humans. I choose love for myself. I choose love for the world. May we all choose love, even when it feels easier not to. Even when it's easier to choose judgment or scorn, mistrust and hatred. Instead, today, I will choose love. Choosing love. It's really what it comes down to, choosing love. I'd like us all to maybe just look back for a minute on the year that we've just had and really ask ourselves whether we have chosen love in our actions, in our words, in what we have planted this year. Now, hopefully, over the course of the year, on balance, the answer to that is yes. But I think if we're all honest, we can look back, and you might not even remember them, but Spirit has seen the interactions, the things that might have been written online, the things we might have said, the things we might have thought, which were not of love, which might have been the polar opposite energy of hate or intense dislike. And let us try in 2024 to tip the balance more to a loving response, because that's what the Ascended Masters teach us. If you look at the energy of Jesus, it was always about responding from love, but as I say, also allowing emotion to arise. There were times absolutely when Jesus had emotion arise. Holy anger is what I call it. Despair. Think about the Garden of Gethsemane moment. I cannot do this. Take this cup away from me. But always returning to the energy of love. Where does the energy of love sit? It sits within your heart. Coming from a heart place of consciousness. Crystals. I'm just going to go with the obvious one, which is rose quartz. Rose quartz, readily available. Rose quartz is the crystal that helps to bring in that high vibration of love. And more than anything, for me with crystals, I have to confess, I love them. I don't always have the time to really sit with them and meditate with them, but I'm surrounded by them. And when you know what they stand for, it's like a visual cue to remind you to return to love in every moment. To have rose quartz beside your bed would be very healing. It sets the tone for the night, for the sleep that is to come. It sets the tone for the morning when you wake up. It's a very lovely thing to maybe just have a affirmation when you wake up to remind yourself that today I choose love. And the more that we choose that and we show that and we demonstrate it, we will see it reflected back to us. So in terms of cards, a couple that I wanted to show you. This one is from Cheryl Richardson's Grace cards. It says, share your heart. To love another is the ultimate expression of grace. Okay. But also, if you can see the image, there's this beautiful heart that's just about to tip over or, well, is balanced precariously on something such as Niagara Falls is what it looks like, but a huge expanse of open water. And it's just imagine this is what's going to tip the balance in our world. If all that love and energy can just ripple out into the oceans, into the wider world, basically. So I love that depiction of love. I also wanted to show you this one from the Christ Consciousness deck. It's very much what I've been talking about in this video. It says, what would love do? Okay, we've all heard, what would Jesus do? Well, what would love do? How would love respond to that situation? What would love say? What would love do? What would love look like in that situation? Okay. Going back to the story that I shared earlier of the train journey yesterday and the person who sadly had probably taken their own life on the line. I didn't see it actually, but there might have been people on that train who were just annoyed, frustrated, weren't able to go into the heart space of compassion and sensitivity for another that is no longer here, probably, you know, weren't able to go into that. What would love do in that situation? What love would do is extend an offer of prayer, of light to the one that was in such deep despair. For example, you know, every single thing in our world, what would love do? How would love respond? Also wanted to show you this card, which is Passion. It says, love your life. Again, from the Archangel Metatron deck, this one, Passion and love for life. Because again, love what you do, okay? Love what you do and it will grow. Stick with what you hate and you dislike and is not resonant with your heart. And you're going to be, it's like 10 of Wands energy. You're always going to just be pushing that cart further and further up the hill with no support. Love what you do. And that's hard, I know, we're getting into a slightly different area here, but I did want to just mention it, which is that we will create blocks in terms of why we can't do what we love, in terms of maybe an occupation, a profession, a hobby. But the more that we push through that, it ignites something within us. It grows the love energy. I was watching a lovely Christmas, well, it wasn't a great Christmas film, but I was watching a Christmas film yesterday with my daughter. I can't remember what it's called, so I can't give it a shout out. But it was the one where, if you're on Netflix, it's the one where I hate the term catfished actually, but she's catfished. So she travels to some part of America to meet this guy that she thinks she's fallen in love with. And then she gets there and he doesn't look like he was supposed to look. It's that one. And anyway, they end up, of course, falling in love anyway. But the point is, in this film, this guy wants to make candles. He wants to make candles for men. Okay, so all of the scents are not florally and they're all manly scents, okay? And he's worried about what his father's going to say and his family are going to say. So he hides this sort of hobby, which is actually what he really wants to do, down in the basement making his candles. And then the film ends where the father just picks up one of the candles and is just extraordinarily amazed by the fact that he's managed to capture the scent of his father who's passed, you know, the mix of whatever the old man used to smell like. And the point I'm trying to make is he then gives his blessing to this business to start up. And you can see the sort of the lightness that comes into the man who wants to be the candle maker. The film's not really even about the candles, but that was the bit I took out of it, because that's what he really wants to do. It's where his passion is. It's where his passion is. And if you can tap into that and you can do that and you can get past what you think are other people's thoughts, prejudices, it's just the most extraordinary, rewarding journey. There will always be people on your journey, if you're following your heart and you're following your passion, that don't get it, that think you should be doing something else. But follow your heart, follow your passion. Okay. Right. Well, my friends, I think we've got to the moment where it is the time to light the 5th candle. So as I say, this one normally would be lit on Christmas Day. I will relight it on Christmas Day. But I just would like to talk a little bit about this 5th candle, which is linked into the energy of purity and represents the light of the world, which of course is what Jesus is as well. So let's light this 5th candle, white candle. Okay, and we'll put that there. Lovely. I'll take a photograph of this afterwards. Oh, that feels good. 57 minutes and 57 seconds as I lit the candle. Interesting. 57, 57. 5, 10. So I'm just doing the numerology of that. 14, 24. Oh, it comes out as a 6. Is that right? 14, 24. It comes out at a vibration of 6. 6 is the energy of love. Nice. Nice little touch, Spirit. Well done. Okay, so the card I want to show you for this 5th candle, the white candle, is this one from the Christ Consciousness deck. This is the energy of purity. And it says, return to innocence. Absolutely. Let's get Return to Innocence by Enigma on. What a wonderful song that is. I love it. It shows a little girl holding the lamb. It represents the energy of innocence, of purity, of meekness, of gentleness. Let's just flow into that. And I'm going to use the Master Jesus spray. So the Christ light energy itself. Let's see. So allow the energies of hope, peace, joy, love, and purity to nourish your soul, to nourish your heart, to sustain you, to inspire you, to remind you to always go higher, to always hold out for the best outcome, to never give up, to fortify you. And I'm being shown a path ahead, and the path, I think, represents 2024 and the year to come. And imagine if that path is paved with the energies of hope, peace, joy, love, and purity. Let's put that out as a ribbon of light into the world. And now I'm being shown the world, the globe, and these 5 flames are around it and within it. So the 4 corners of the globe have hope, peace, joy, and love surrounding it, within it. And then purity is the flame that is running through the earth. That this planet was intended to be a planet of purity. And all that is not will be. It's this energy of of light triumphing over darkness. Putting a stake into the heart of the earth, a sword, and that stake or that sword into the heart of Mother Earth is filled with the energy of love and light and purity. It's returning this planet to one of purity. It's returning the planet to light. That's what we are envisaging. That's what we're doing. That's what we will never, ever give up on, is what I'm hearing. In each incarnation as light workers, that is what we came to do. That is what we came to be. That is what we came to work towards. And how we achieve it collectively is via holding these qualities and these energies within ourselves. So how can you, this Christmas time, be more loving? How can you spread the frequency of joy? What can you do to make yourself feel more at peace? What brings you peace? What doesn't bring you peace? What are you hoping for? What are you hoping for? I know somebody, I don't feel ready to share this yet really, but someone in my life who has completely turned their life around in the last 12 months from a place of chronic addiction, alcoholism, to being just so awe-inspiringly better. Now a pillar of their AA meetings, inspiring others. It's taken 12 months. In many ways, it's taken a lot longer than that. But hope. Always hanging on to hope. Okay, let's end with a poem. I'm going to open it at a page and we'll see what we get. How beautiful is that? Okay, I've just opened it at this page. It says, I hope you find at least one right person who will like you in a way that 100 wrong people could not. That's nice. That's from Donna Ashworth. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this series of 2 videos. I'm going to end it there. And then I will be back next week with some work for solstice. And I'm also doing some work preparing some predictions for 2024. And that will be coming soon. And I don't know what else. But anyway, I wish you a very happy weekend, or whenever it is that you're watching this. Lots of love. Take care. See you all again soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye.